So I am making pizza tonight, and I am preparing, instead of having a regular red pizza sauce made with tomatoes and oregano and some other spices, I am making a garlic cream sauce instead, because I want to have something a little different. Sometimes it's a little more refreshing than having that, and you have some other options besides, see, I never know what to say.
So just say what you're doing right now.
So right now I am melting the butter. First thing is you melt the butter, and then I'm going to put a little bit of flour in here because I'm just making a really quick roux.
You're creating a roux.
So roux is basically flour and butter. So I'm going to take it off so it doesn't get all lumpy. Try not to get it lumpy. It's still a little bit thin. So just kind of want to incorporate all the flour, make sure you get it all in there, and it still looks kind of thin to me. And I want the cream sauce to be a little bit thicker since it's going on a pizza and not like on pasta or something. So I want to make it a little thicker, so I'll add a little bit more flour.
Mixing it around in the butter to dissolve it, right?
Yeah, you have to, and the butter's got to be warm enough to dissolve the flour too. So you can see that it's kind of, sort of thick, but not really too thick. Want it just a little bit more.
And you're making a thicker sauce because
it's for pizza, not pasta. Pasta doesn't have to be so thick because it spreads all over the pasta. And for pizza, you want it a little bit more thick because you don't want it getting hot and running off the sides of the pizza when it's cooking.
So making a thicker roux will help it make a thicker sauce, right? Okay.
And it also, so that's one reason, yes, that's one reason. I'm not going to add any salt to it yet because the garlic is really salty already. So I don't want to have it too salty. So I'm going to go ahead and add this.
About how much?
Right now. It's probably about a tablespoon of garlic.
Okay. In the saucepan over like medium heat right now?
Yeah, it's about medium heat, so I'm just going to get this going a little bit. Just kind of incorporate the flour and the garlic all together, and you can see it's kind of bubbling a little bit, so I'm going to take it off because I don't want it to burn. But I wanted to get that, and you kind of smell the garlic is starting to cook, or sweat, as you call it.
And why would you put it in now inside that roux?
Because you want it to cook a little bit before. You don't want to just put the garlic in there when the sauce is done, because the garlic needs to cook a little bit. Kind of opens up the flavors of the garlic and makes it a little bit more intense if you cook it a little bit before you eat it. And
okay.
So if you were to just throw it in there, it would really taste like raw garlic, and it's not that great. So I'm going to add a little tiny bit of pepper to this, not too much, because it doesn't look very good, but it tastes good. You'll see what I mean, because you don't want to have a garlic sauce that has a bunch of black specks in it. So optimally would be white pepper, but I don't have any white pepper, so I have to cheat and use black pepper. So kind of mix that up a little bit. And then I have my wine over here. I'll take a little sip. Because you always got to. And this is probably not something you should do in front of anybody, but only the family's eating it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that wine in there.
Just a splash?
Just a splash.
And what kind of wine is that?
It's just a white wine. Any kind of white wine will work. And it's totally a preference if you're not an alcohol drinker or you don't want, it makes it a very unique flavor.
Oh, really? Into a garlic sauce?
And I just happen to, I like it.
Okay. So just a little bit of Chardonnay or
white wine, whatever you got is
okay.
Good. Whatever you're drinking is good. So then I start with heavy whipping cream. And you just add a little bit at a time.
Okay.
And this is really thick, so it's going to be super thick.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to make sure you get it all off the bottom and off the sides, because it's going to start thickening up as soon as you hit the...
You gotta kind of keep it moving too.
Mm-hmm. I want to keep it moving. So I'll go like this. And then as it heats up, it's going to start getting really thick. And that's what it's supposed to be doing.
And so you incorporate it slowly, not fast, like, and why
Right.
is that?
If you do it too fast, and you're going to get lumps.
Oh, okay. So, because I usually, I just dump everything in there.
Yeah,
so
no
this helps
dumping.
it helps keep the lumps down too.
Right, and see how it's kind of thick?
Mm-hmm.
Getting thick, thick, thick. Well, we want it really thick like that because we're spreading it on the pizza. We're not pouring it on the pizza. So it's okay for it to be really thick like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to keep stirring it.
Let's
See,
try
now it's
this
getting
at
like
home.
super thick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit too thick now. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, not even barely spreadable.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to taste sticky. I'll take this off for a second. Thin it out with a little bit of half and half because the whipping cream is really thick already. So I'm just going to thin it out just a little bit with some half and half. If you don't have half and half and you don't have cream, you can always use milk. So it doesn't have to be. It just makes it a little more rich when you use these types of products. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. Just use milk. It works too. So that's still just a tiny bit too thick for my taste. And as it heats up, it thickens up a little bit more.
So if you were using an electric stove and not a gas stove, would you have it on like medium heat right now?
Yeah, you don't want the heat to be too hot because it'll scorch it. So I'm taking this off right here.
And that's why you're pulling it off.
Yeah, because you don't want it to get too hot because it'll scorch it and then it won't be any, you have to start over.
Okay.
Because burnt milk is not good. I have to get Parmesan cheese, which I didn't prepare ahead of time.
Okay. So here's our ingredients.
So I always put a little bit of Parmesan cheese in my sauces, my Italian sauces. Just gives it a little bit of creaminess and smoothness. Just put a little bit in there like that.
In all of your sauces you put it in?
All of my cream sauces I put it in. You know, if I'm making like an Italian type of cream sauce, which most of the... You can see, so it's pretty thick right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of gummy looking. So it's still a little bit too thick, but it thickened up with the cheese. So we're just going to get that cheese in there really good. And it's a little bit gummy, so I'm going to put it over here. Add a little bit more milk, a little bit more. Incorporate that in. And I'm not going to heat it up again. I'm just going to let it sit for a few minutes because I have to do the pizza dough. Alright, that's pretty good. A little bit, see how now it's a little bit more creamy,
yeah.
and it's more like that. The cheese is what makes it kind of smooth and soft like that. So we should probably try it, see if it's any good.